The news spread faster than wind. The woman who eats grass is in labor. Villagers gathered outside Ton's house like bees around honey. Reporters from Lagos arrived in vans, cameras flashing, shouting questions. Even BBC Africa picked it up. Within hours, her story was on international news. Nigerian woman with mysterious pregnancy goes into labor after months of supernatural symptoms. But Ton didn't care about the headlines. His world was falling apart inside that small house. Moyo screamed in agony, clutching her belly as the midwife tried to calm her. "Push, my daughter, push," the woman cried, but each time Moyo pushed, a strange sound came from her stomach, like a hiss mixed with thunder. The whole house shook. The doctor from the city, Dr. Bello, arrived just in time, sweating from the heat and tension. "Everyone out," he ordered, but no one moved. "I said out," he shouted again. Ton refused to leave. "That's my wife, doctor. I'm not leaving her." Dr. Bello sighed and nodded. "Then pray," he muttered. For the next hour, the cries of labor echoed across the street. But in between the screams, something else spoke, soft whispers, deep and ancient, coming from her womb. "He's coming," Moyo gasped. "He's hungry, again." Her eyes rolled back as she convulsed, her body arching in unnatural ways. The midwife dropped her tools and ran outside screaming, "This is not childbirth, this is warfare." Dr. Bello tried to stay calm, but his hands trembled as he saw the ultrasound screen flicker. The heartbeat wasn't 1, it was 2, no, 3, beating in perfect unison, forming a pattern like a chant. "Impossible," he whispered. "She's carrying something more than human." Suddenly, Moyo went silent. The room fell into eerie quiet. Then, she smiled faintly and said, "Ton, he wants to see you." "Who?" Ton stammered, kneeling beside her. "Our child," she whispered. "He said you must forgive your father before he comes out." Tears welled in Ton's eyes. "Moyo, my father is gone." "He's here," she said softly, pointing behind him. Slowly, Ton turned, and there, in the corner of the room, stood a faint shadow of a man. His father. The same eyes, the same frame, only darker, transparent, like mist. "My son," the voice said gently, "the child she carries is the bridge between what was and what will be. Don't fear him." Ton collapsed, trembling, as the shadow vanished. Moyo screamed again, louder this time, and something wet and green splattered across the sheets. "Dear," Bello gasped. "That's not blood," he said. The fluid was bright green, glowing faintly. Then came another contraction. "Push," he shouted, but Moyo only laughed through her tears. "He's already out," she whispered. And then, silence. Everyone froze. The baby wasn't crying. For a terrifying moment, the world stopped. But when Dr. Bello lifted the newborn, everyone gasped. It was a boy, perfectly human-looking, except for one thing, his eyes. They were bright green, like fresh grass after rain. The baby blinked once, twice, then smiled. Not cried, smiled. Ton stared, speechless, as Moyo reached out weakly and held the child. "See," she said softly. "He's beautiful." But her voice was fading. "Moyo," Ton whispered, tears streaming down his face, "stay with me. Please." She smiled again, touching his cheek. "Take care of him, Ton. He will change everything." "No, no, don't say that, promise me." "I promise." And with that, she took one deep breath, looked at her baby one last time, and went still. Ton screamed her name, shaking her body, begging her to wake up, but she was gone. The doctor covered his face, whispering a prayer. Outside, thunder rumbled across the sky, and for a brief moment, it rained, not water, but green mist, like the earth itself was mourning. News spread across the world that day, woman dies giving birth to mysterious child. Scientists flew in from everywhere. They wanted to study the boy. But Ton refused. "No one touches my son," he said firmly. Years later, the boy grew fast, too fast. By the age of 5, he could make plants grow just by touching them. By the age of 10, scientists began calling him the Green Child. He became a global mystery, a symbol of nature's rebirth, and a reminder of the woman who sacrificed everything to bring him into the world. But Ton knew one truth the world didn't. Every night, when his son slept, he could hear a faint whisper from the garden. "Feed me, Mama," the voice said. And every morning, the grass in the backyard grew taller than before, bending gently toward the boy's window. 15 years later, the boy named Emmy had become a global wonder. Scientists called him the Green Miracle. News stations around the world filmed him walking through deserts where nothing grew, and within minutes, grass and flowers sprouted from the dust. Presidents invited him to banquets, priests called him an angel. Yet Emmy never smiled. He lived quietly with his father in a small green-painted house at the edge of a burden, where every tree bent slightly toward their roof as though listening to something sacred. Every year on the anniversary of Moyo's death, the air around their home turned greenish, and the sky would rain softly, only above their compound. The neighbors said it was a blessing. Ton knew better, it was a reminder. That night, Emmy came to his father's room. "Baba," he said, his voice calm and deep for a 15-year-old, "it's time." Ton frowned. "Time for what, my son?" "Time to finish Mama's promise." Ton's heart raced. He had heard that phrase before, Moyo's last words before she died. "What promise?" he whispered. Emmy smiled gently, the same smile his mother had. She didn't eat grass because she was cursed. She ate it because she carried the seed of the world. He turned to the window, and as he raised his hand, the trees outside bent lower, almost kneeling. "The earth chose her," he continued softly. "And now, it calls me." Suddenly, thunder boomed. The lights flickered, and the walls began to hum with vibration. Ton rushed to hold his son, but Emmy's skin shimmered faintly green. "No!" Ton cried. "You can't leave me too." "I'm not leaving you, Baba," Emmy said, placing his hand on his father's chest. "You'll always feel me in the wind, the grass, and the rain. But the world is dying, and Mama's gift was meant to heal it." Tears rolled down Ton's cheeks. "You're just a boy." "No," Emmy whispered. "I am the bridge." The ground outside split open, not violently, but gracefully, like the earth itself was opening a door. Roots and vines crept into the room, wrapping around Emmy's feet. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Mama is waiting." Ton fell to his knees, clutching his son's hand as it began to glow brighter and brighter. "Please, my son, don't go." Emmy looked back one last time and said, "I love you, Baba. Tell them the grass was never a curse, it was life itself." And with that, his body dissolved into a burst of light that flowed through the vines and vanished into the soil. The house went still. The silence that followed was deafening. The next morning, something extraordinary happened. Grass began to grow in the Sahara Desert. Rivers that had dried up for decades started to flow again. Countries that suffered from famine suddenly saw crops sprouting overnight. The United Nations called it the Green Dawn. Scientists couldn't explain it, but every plant carried a faint green glow that matched the color of Emmy's eyes. Ton sat under the mango tree behind his house, staring at the empty spot where his son had vanished. He hadn't eaten or slept for days. Then, one evening, as the sun set, he felt a soft breeze. The grass around him swayed gently, and a voice whispered in the air, "Thank you, Baba." Ton smiled through his tears. "You kept your promise, my son." Years passed, and the world grew greener, purer. People began to tell the story of a woman who ate grass so the earth could live again. They built a statue of her in the center of Abuja, a mother kneeling with a green child in her arms. Underneath, it read, "She fed the earth, and the earth fed us." Ton grew old, sitting every day under that same mango tree, listening to the grass whispering his family's love. And each time it rained softly, only on his compound, he would close his eyes and say, "Moyo, Emmy, I can feel you." That was the day the world understood that miracles don't always come from heaven, sometimes, they grow quietly from the earth, watered by the tears of those who love deeply.